That's really loud. All right. Good evening. Welcome to the April 22nd meeting of the Nixa City Council. Call the meeting to order.
Kelly Morris.
Here.
Matt Ogden.
Here.
Sean Lucas.
Here.
Aaron Peterson.
Here.
Darlene Graham.
Here.
Zern Vess.
Here.
Please join me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First up on tonight's agenda, Resolution 2024-28.
Resolution number 2024-28, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa declaring the results of the April 2nd, 2024 general municipal election. Mayor and Council, this is a resolution that we do every year per City Charter, Section 9.3. It requires the council to declare the results once they're certified by the county clerk. Those results were certified and sent to us. Zern Vess was reelected for another term, District 1. Sean Lucas was reelected council member, District 2. And the marijuana sales tax did pass. Yay. If you have any questions, please let me know.
Any questions? Do we do a public hearing?
Can if you want.
Yes.
It's scheduled.
My
for
attorney
public
says
hearing.
yes. All right, no questions. I will open up the public hearing. If you would like to speak on the results of the April 2nd election, do so at this time. None, I will close the public hearing. I will accept a motion.
I'll make the motion. Second.
First by Mr. Ogden, second by Mr. Peterson. Roll call, please. Or it's a resolution. I don't have to do that, do I? All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Congratulations, guys. Welcome back. All right. So we will start off by swearing in Mr. Zern Vess. So everybody get your cameras out.
Don't you have to do it with the microphone?
No.
I state your name. Do solemnly swear that I will support the Constitution of the United States, the Constitution of the State of Missouri, and the ordinances of the City of Nixa. And I will faithfully demean myself in the office of City Council Member District 1, for which I was elected on the 2nd day of April, 2024.
Next up, Mr. Sean Lucas, District 2.
I state your name. I, Sean Lucas. Do solemnly swear. That I will support the Constitution of the United States. The Constitution of the State of Missouri. And the ordinances of the City of Nixa. And I will faithfully demean myself. In the office of City Council Member District 2. For which I was elected. On the 2nd day of April, 2024.
Thank you guys again for your willingness to serve our community. All right. So it has been a year, and next up is the Mayor Pro Tem election. So the way this works is you can make a nomination. There's more than one, we'd have to vote on each one separately. If not, then we'll accept a motion for that one person and second, and then you got it.
So as being the mayor pro tem for this last year, it's been an honor and a privilege. This year, I would actually like to nominate Mr. Aaron Peterson.
Fantastic.
Wait for her.
If there are no other nominations, I will accept a motion.
I'll make. Second.
First by Ms. Graham, second by Mr. Vess. Do we roll call this one? Roll call, please.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Motion passes. I'm not sure what we would do
Yes.
if you would have said no, but thank you for that. With that being said, I do want to thank Mr. Lucas. You don't realize, and I didn't realize, how much is involved in different events and meetings and everything for being a mayor. And Sean did a really great job of going to a lot of events with me, being in the know on everything that was going on just in case I had to be gone. I felt like if I needed to be gone, if something happened, I knew that the city was in good hands. He stayed very educated on everything the whole time, so I truly appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. I hope to do it again in the future.
All right. Moving on. This one's pretty cool. First up, I got to do the consent agenda first. Does anyone want to remove, add, or change anything to the consent agenda? If not, I will accept a motion.
So made.
Second.
First by Mr. Lucas, a second by Mr. Peterson. Roll call, please.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Zern Vess.
Yes.
Thank you. Now on to the cool part. Service awards. First up is Doug Colvin, 20 years, Public Works.
Mayor, Council, as you said, Doug Colvin's been with us now for 20 years. And I can tell you that Doug has been an instrumental part of the city's growth over the last 20 years. If you look at our infrastructure that we have in the city and the way it's built out, a lot of that thanks goes to Doug. And I think that, when we look at Doug's position, we always look at it as the Public Works Director and the Assistant City Administrator. But I think sometimes we overlook the fact of just how many hats this man wears. It's a lot. He wears, water, wastewater, streets, you name it. But I will say this, that his knowledge and the institutional knowledge that he has, especially in the world of electric, is just phenomenal. And we're where we're at today because of him and the infrastructure that we have and the strong electrical system that we have. It's all attributed to Doug and the team as well. But he'll be the first to tell you it's a team effort. But it's because he leads that team. And then I'll also say that since my time over here at City Hall, I know he's helped me as the Assistant City Administrator through a lot of difficult times. He helped us through the period of COVID. He helped us through the sale of the transmission lines, which Doug was very instrumental in, and saving the city a lot of money during that because of that sale. And then most recently, he helped us through the purchase of further infrastructure with RDE and Tuscany. And so the list just goes on and on. But I can't say thank you enough to Mr. Colvin in the last 20 years that he's given the city. And I will say, just as I said, Cindy can never retire, neither can Doug.
Yeah, and I do want to add to that. I've had the opportunity to go to a lot of the things that Doug is involved in with either the American Public Power Association or the Missouri Public Utility Alliance. There's a lot of, Travis gave me a whole book of all the things I have to try to remember. And the amount of stuff that I've learned from Mr. Colvin has been amazing, but what's been truly amazing is seeing him around people in the industry that aren't from Nixa. So people from, Springfield or Carthage or even other states, and the level of respect that they have for him in the industry. It's You know, he's accomplished a lot, and a lot of times you think, oh, well, that's cool, you know, he's made friends. No, that stuff will come in handy if something bad was to happen in our city. You know, God forbid a tornado or something like that. He can get on the phone and ask for favors, and those people will be more than willing to help us out because of those relationships that he's developed and really has put Nixa on the map in the utility world. So thank you very much, and looking forward to another 20 years. All right. And next up, with another 20 years, Linda Gallagher, Utility Billing Supervisor.
Mayor and Council, Linda Gallagher has been with the Utility Billing Department since April 21st of 2004. In that time, she has been a Utility Account Specialist, an Assistant Utility Billing Supervisor, and most recently, she was promoted to Utility Billing Account Specialist Supervisor. Working in the utility billing office is definitely not for the faint of heart. It takes a special type of person, I refer to them as unicorns because they're very rare, who can understand complex rate structures and billing items, can manage over 11,000 customer accounts, and can remain poised under pressure in dealing with oftentimes very angry customers. Linda has proven to be just such a unicorn. It's no secret that over the past 10 months, our utility billing office has been through the ringer with a new system upgrade and staffing issues, and Linda has been a steady base of knowledge and experience in getting us through a lot of our challenges. She has stepped up and taken the reins of supervisor, and in that time, we have seen a vast improvement in the accuracy of our billing as well as in efficiency of processes. More than any of the rest of the accolades that I could present to you, the one thing I admire the most about Linda and why I think she is so good at her job is this. She genuinely cares about the customers of Nixa Utilities, and she is motivated by doing right by them. And that is why the City of Nixa is extremely fortunate to have Linda Gallagher as part of our team. So thank you, Linda. For 20 years of service, your loyalty and hard work is very deeply appreciated.
And I will go ahead to add to that one as well. Can't let one 20-year employee get all the credit. You know, the things that you guys had to deal with that were completely out of your control, and still coming to work ready to tackle the day and take care of all the citizens, that's huge. You know, something sounds as simple as getting new software to make everything better. Yeah, we can all laugh about that, but you know, there's hiccups along the way, and there always will be with new software. But you know, just the hard work and determination that you guys had to continue to serve our customers. You know, I get compliments now, which is amazing. And the way you guys explain people's issues and are willing to help them out is huge. And we're very lucky to have you step into that role. I'm sure you were probably hesitant. So thank you very much. Okay. So next up, we have two presentations.
Mayor, I don't see.
Maybe not one of them?
I don't see neither one of them here tonight, so I'm not sure. I'm
Okay.
not sure what happened, but we'll check on that.
All right. So hopefully maybe the next meeting, or if they show up later, we can do something. Okay. That being said, I will open up the visitors section. If you would like to speak on anything that is not on the agenda, feel free
Ron.
to do so.
Ron Sanders.
Oh, okay. Hi.
Howdy. This is the beginning of my second week of not having a regular job. And let me tell you something, I have stayed out of everybody's hair here. It's amazing. Tonight I want to talk about something in the Bill of Rights that people don't usually talk about. That's the freedom of association. It's protected by the First Amendment. And right now, if anybody's paying attention to Title IX, our illustrious federal government is trying to force us to associate by force. I don't know if you guys know this or not, but when it comes to that kind of male-female athletes and everything, I'm not going to get into it, but the force is coming. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Association is a strange thing. As we go through our lives, we meet a lot of people. Some people say that the maximum that we can have in our circle of friends and our circle of acquaintances is about 500. You can really know about 500 people, and that's kind of stretching it. Your inner circle is usually about 60 or 70. The people that you hold most dear, usually about 10 to 15. And a lot goes into those associations. A lot goes into those relationships. And, you know, sometimes we're forced to have relationships with people, acquaintances, and sometimes we choose to have acquaintances and relationships with people. And when we step into the government realm, we have to be careful who we choose to have acquaintances with. When we step into other realms, jobs, community, we have to be careful. And we've had some associations get rocked in the very recent past, where people had to reevaluate their associations and figure out where they stand. And I think one of the things that people don't realize is that everybody around you who knows you also evaluate you and your integrity, your honesty, your courage, all of those values and ethical and moral standards by the company that you keep as well. And I can honestly say that Nixa is one of the greatest places to have the opportunity to have associations, to have friends, to have acquaintances, to meet good people, because they're everywhere. You probably wouldn't want to throw a rock, but you could probably throw a rock and hit 3 of them as it bounces. I am very happy that we can talk about people being friends, people being acquaintances, and having such a great city that people don't have to fret or keep arm distances away from fellow citizens and other people whenever it comes to associations. Yeah, you may not want to, have them over for dinner right away. Maybe, you're not going to invite them to your birthday party, but I can guarantee you that if you say hello to them, they'll look you in the eye and they'll say hello back and they'll mean it. And that's a great thing about a city. We have that freedom, and I just wanted to remind everybody that as we go through life, don't forget that with those associations come a little bit of responsibility when it comes to evaluating your ethics, your morals, your values. And thank you for everybody who already does that. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Sanders. I definitely agree with that. We have one of the best cities, for sure. All right. It is still open if anyone would like to come up and speak. Do so at this time. Theta, you. All right, I will close the visitor section. All right. Moving on, second reading, Council Bill 2024-12.
Second reading Council Bill Number 2024-12, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending Chapter 12, Article 4, and Chapter 117, Article 4 of the Nixa City Code for the purpose of modifying the city's regulations related to garage sales, presenting as Planning and Development Director Scott Goppy.
Mayor, council, good evening. This is what I consider a simple code change. It's just changing the language of one code section to refer back to a different code section. In August of '22, Nixa City Council approved having a second citywide garage sale in addition to the two garage sales that citizens are allowed to have at their property. So this is in Chapter 117. That section was not changed in 2022, so we are now referring that section back to Chapter 12 rather than stating the specifics again in Chapter 117. So since Chapter 117 is the Land Development Code, this was brought in front of the Planning and Zoning Commission. Nobody approached the commission with any objection or any other advice on it. So they voted unanimously to recommend approval to the City Council. So staff does recommend approval of this code amendment as it will remove the redundancy in our code. If you have any questions, I'm available.
Any questions? How does this, how does the state legislation with home-based business affect this? Because if you don't have to have a business license to have a home-based business, technically you could have a garage sale at your house every weekend or every day of the week.
A home-based business is something that's considered inside of the structure. Also,
Like
I think
inside
it
your garage?
I think it.
Just throwing that out there.
That's a good one.
I'm just curious. I like that. Is it?
That's the planning director gave the answer that the way that the home-based business statute is structured, and of course, I would need to look at the statute to address your specific question, but we had conversations about this, and early on when we looked at bringing this forward, and the home-based business statutes do allow for you to regulate activity occurring outside or things that might be bringing more people than might be typical to the residential area, the single-family residential area.
Okay. That makes sense. Thank you. Any other questions? All right. No other questions. I will open up the public hearing. If you would like to speak on this, do so. Fair enough. I will close the public hearing. Anything else from council? I will accept a motion.
Second.
First by Mrs. Morris, second by Mr. Vess. Roll call, please.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Zern Vess,
Yes.
Johnny Graham.
Yes.
All right, up next, second reading, Council Bill 2024-13.
Second reading Council Bill Number 2024-13, an ordinance of the Council of the City of Nixa amending the 2024 annual budget for the purpose of funding the purchase of a vehicle for the police department, presenting as Police Chief Joe Campbell.
Mayor, council, I'll try to get through this without coughing. For some reason, I have a tickle cough all of a sudden. In March of 2024, the police department had an opportunity, an unexpected opportunity, to assign an officer to the DEA Drug Task Force that operates out of the Springfield metropolitan area. As a result of our agreements and ability to move into that contract with them and assign an officer, which We're very close to finalizing that, by the way. Got that done today, and so we'll be making notifications. We also, as part of this agreement, need to provide a vehicle for that officer to utilize during the course of his duties. It is a partially funded position at the task force. However, they will not cover the purchase of a vehicle. And so for us, we would have to provide that vehicle for that officer. So in looking at, the ways that we can do that, we certainly are lucky in that we have impact fees, and this type of purchase would qualify for those kinds of fees to be utilized. I did find out after speaking to finance that we do need to spend $24,968 this year. We're required to spend that money as it's been in there long enough that it needs to be spent on something. We have $64,000 in our impact fee line, and so I am requesting that we allocate the budget or amend the budget and allocate $50,000 for the purchase and outfit of a vehicle for this DEA task force officer that we'll be assigning here in the next couple weeks. We looked at a lot of different options to use the lease program that we're currently using with the patrol vehicles. And unfortunately, they weren't able to provide us with any viable options as far as vehicle goes. Those types of cars have to be inconspicuous, but yet suit the needs for a police officer to do those kinds of activities. And to give you an example, a Nissan Sentra is probably not going to pull that off as an undercover police car. So that's just one example of the cars that Enterprise had presented us to use. And so we had to go a different direction and go with the purchase. So ideally, we would have liked to lease the car. However, in this situation, they weren't going to be able to find us any viable options. So we're back to purchase. But our intention certainly is to keep this vehicle, keep eye on the mileage, and then make sure that we are maintaining it and then rotating it at the proper time so that we are honoring the system that they have in place as far as getting the return on the investment from the vehicles. So our intention would be that we would go to a certain mileage, and then whenever it's to maximize our return on that investment, we would sell that vehicle and then get into something else. Hopefully at that time, we would be able to move into a lease type situation with a different type of vehicle. But the idea would be that we would keep it for a certain number of miles, and then before it reached that end of life mileage, we would rotate it out properly and move on to the next thing. Make sure I covered everything else. Talked about that. Yeah, that's about it. If you have any questions, I can answer those questions now.
Any questions? Thank you, Chief.
You're welcome.
No other questions. I will open up the public hearing if you would like to speak on this. I will close the public hearing. Nothing else from council. I will accept a motion.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
First by Ms. Graham, second by Mr. Lucas. Roll call, please.
Sean Lucas,
Yes.
Matt Ogden,
Yes.
Zern Vest,
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson.
Yes.
Motion passes. Now on to resolutions. First up, Resolution 2024-29.
Resolution number 2024-29, a resolution of the Council of the City of Nixa authorizing the city administrator to solicit proposals for stump grinding services as part of the city's vegetation management operations. Presenting is Assistant City Administrator and Public Works Director Doug Colvin.
Mayor and council, if this sounds familiar, you just addressed this issue in January. However, because of the way we had the bid specifications put together, we didn't receive any qualified bids to be able to do that. We had not only the typical liability insurance, workers' comp, and that type of thing, we also had included in there owners and contractors protective liability, which is a much larger coverage. It's like an umbrella and it's like $3 point some million that they have to have. we've run into this before. Typically, we'll hold to these when we have like a road construction project or a large electric line project, something that's fairly large. But for something as small as like stump grinding, as long as we get the liability insurance coverage and we can assure that those workers, have insurance, that they couldn't come back on us and that type of thing, we can be satisfied that we're in good shape. We've done this a couple of times with a small contract like this or a small type of issue, and we pulled that section out. And so what you have tonight is basically a request from us to rebid this without the OCP liability coverage, and so we can move forward from there. That's the only difference in the resolution from the one you passed in January.
Would we normally include something like that just because if they're cutting down a large tree that could possibly fall on something, but nothing's going to fall?
Well, actually, we put that in, that's a standard item in all of our agreements.
Okay.
And so sometimes on some smaller ones, those companies are able to do it, and they don't even think about it. But there have been a couple of times where we just haven't got the bids. The value of the contract isn't enough for them to go out there and buy that level of insurance to be able to do the work. So,
Gotcha. All right. Any other questions? Thank you, Mr. Colvin. All right, no other questions. I will open up the public hearing. If you would like to speak on stump grinding. Fair enough. Close the public hearing. Anything else from council? I will accept a motion.
So made.
Second.
First by Mr. Peterson, second by Mrs. Morris. All in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. All right. Next up, we have our Planning and Development Liaison Report from Mr. Sean Lucas. While he is walking up, for anyone who's watching this or anything, at the last council meeting of every month, the informational items in there, you can look at business licenses, the cash report, and you can view all of our award-winning transparency documents. Oh, Lord.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Macy kind of gave away a little secret that I had in my presentation, but that's okay. No, actually, it was fun getting to know a little bit more about Scott's department. And one of the things that they all made me plenty aware of is that their department likes to have fun and a little bit of a sense of humor. So you'll probably see a few snippets of that through my presentation tonight. So without further ado. Just because I know you love them so much, Mayor. What makes planning and development? So the department is kind of made up of planning, the planning department for the city, GIS, building inspections, code enforcement, and then I have a little asterisk by project facilitation, and I'll explain more about that a little later. So, oh, there we go. So the planning department, also known as the Cardigan Gang, as you can see by their little outfits right there. The Scott Gabby, Director of Planning and Development. The planners, Brendan Justin, and Administrative Assistant is Lisa Brown. These three are a lot of the public facing the relations of the Planning and Development Department. They spend a lot of time with customers. They work to try to get to a yes for all the projects for the customer. I mean, their number one goal is to find a way to get to that yes, because nobody wants to hear no, and it's easy to say no, but it's not always easy to say yes. So they really try to work hard to get to that yes in different ways. They deal with a lot of property questions on a daily basis, anywhere from property lines to easements, drainage, et cetera, so like that. One of the things that Scott said is that, we've heard a lot about the woes that we've had in utility billing with the new ERP BSA system, but it's really benefited Scott's department. They've had several new features we'll kind of talk about throughout the presentation, but it allows the system for online permits, so people can apply, pay for, and receive their permit online now. The BSA also has tracking development activities in there too. There we go. Just to save you a little bit of time, I'm not doing transitions for everyone, Mayor.
Thank you.
GSI is Geographic Information Systems, and that is led by Travis Carr. He's our GIS technician, AKA Little Dizzy. Not quite sure how he got that name, but hey. In that department, he kind of takes care of the maps, and those are actually all moving to ARC Online, so that can reach a greater audience. And then that was the Ozark Transportation Organization was the base map. Their base map was the inspiration for this, and the more time that we put in onto the back end of that, the better information that can be put out to the public. There are some new aerials coming soon, and those are usually updated every 2 years. Building inspection. So we have inspectors Joe Ripple, which is right there. We have Jason Cook. We have Bill Ellsworth, and brand new hire Trey Davis. So no picture yet. But Joe just recently retired, so there's a picture of Joe when he was first hired in the city of Nixa. So several years ago. One of the big factors for the BSA improvements on this one has made it possible for the inspectors to use iPads on the job sites, so they can do the inspections, go through, check the boxes, make the comments, and then basically send that report right then and there, and it's immediately available to the people on the job site. So that's definitely a useful tool there. So code enforcement, the code enforcement compliance officer is Nate Hartzell. So if people have problems with broken down cars, debris, overgrown grass, or just about any type of nuisance ordinance out there, Nate handles that, and I know he handles a lot more than just that, but that's the ones that I'm familiar with. And again, BSA is great for tracking the cases that he puts out. He's currently working with legal to overhaul the nuisance code. And one of the big things about Nate is he really tries to make a positive impact on the community, where he will work with people rather than just give them a ticket and then move on. He tries to have conversations with them, meets with them face to face. In fact, I was in here this morning, and a gentleman came in and said, "Hey, I received a letter. What do I need to do?" And from earshot, I could hear Nate was very professional. Was like, "Here, this is what we're trying to accomplish. How can we help you get that taken care of?" So, kudos to Nate. And then project facilitation. The reason I asterisk this is that realistically, the project facilitator, Justin Orff, doesn't really report to the planning and development department, but he plays a big role in that department. And so Justin coordinates reviews with that require third parties and other departments. He's started to review all the commercial projects, and he does the tracking of the projects, and not just with keeping staff updated to where they're at. He also updates Nixa.com with photos and statuses of the ongoing projects to try to keep the public in the know as well. So it's been a very big, crucial role, and Justin has hit the ground running 190 miles an hour with it. So he's doing a great job. So let's talk about current projects that are under review or under construction. Commercial projects. First one is the K9 Hideaway. This is under review. This is actually going in out on 14, right there in front of Tiffany Highlands, kind of by where that church is building right there next to the Come and Go. What this is going to be is a dog training facility, but also like a doggy hotel. From what I understand, a pretty famous Greene County Sheriff is the one that's putting this in, that there's going to be cameras and stuff like that, so if you board your dog there, you can kind of watch your dog sleep or something, check on your dog. So pretty neat. And it is kind of on hold for a couple weeks, like you said, Scott? Yeah, it's on a slight hold, but it is under review and moving forward. The other one is the Nixa Public Schools Multipurpose Facility. That is currently being reviewed by our planning department. This is going to be the indoor sports facility that they're building, and this currently is just the building indoor facility part yet. They've not moved to the outdoor part of that yet. And then Dollar General is also under review. Residential projects, multifamily, Northview and Gregg, there's going to be 186 dwelling units there. That's currently under review. The Woodfield PUD, which we approved a while back, is 81 dwelling units. Those plans are being reviewed, as well as Walker Woods Phase 1 that has 60 units. All right, single family. There we have the Riverton Park Phase 1, 63 lots. That's under construction. We have Meadowbrook Phase 4, which is 78 lots, and that's under construction. Forest Heights Phase 4, 71 lots, and that's been approved. So that's going to be moving forward real soon. And then Forest Heights Phase 5, 26 lots is currently under review. So a lot going on with our planning and development. And with that, any questions? I saved it to 2, man.
Thank you.
Just
I
2.
appreciate that. Thank you very much.
All right.
That was a good one.
Thank you, Scott, for your help putting this together and your team, and thank you.
Thank you for only doing 2 transitions. Yeah, you guys are doing a great job with all the additional things that a lot of people don't see. Truly appreciate it. And the project tracker, that's awesome, because that's the number one question I'm asked. What's going in over here? What's going in over here? What's happening over here? So being able to have kind of real-time updates on that with pictures and everything, that's pretty cool. All right. Is there anything else from council? Pretty short meeting tonight.
I have something. I had a lady call me the other day. She lives at 303 South Becky Circle, and she was wondering what the plans are to help get the water problem alleviated there. There's a lot of drainage problems there. Her
Yes.
backyard is constantly flooded.
We have tried to call her back.
Okay.
And haven't heard back yet, but I believe she is on phase 2.
Okay. Well, that's what I
So-
told her. I said, we budget these things out at certain times, and
Yep.
hopefully she'll be on that list. Because she said there's a hump in the road, so the water that comes out of her yard can't even get past it. It hits it and goes right back in her yard.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's what
go
she
for it,
said.
Doug. I mean, you can if you want.
We've had this question come up from a number of council members, and of course, we've talked to the same lady. We're not at the end of our project.
Yeah.
And as you rightfully mentioned, it will continue. We don't know whether, it's going to depend on what our estimated costs come back. Then when we make a proposal to you for the 2025 budget, whether you want to do it, the final part of it in one big phase, or we may have to break it up into 2, but
That's what I kind of told her, but I
Yeah.
told her I would bring it up.
yeah,
since
you're
she had
spot
called.
on. So,
Yeah, darling, I did try calling her back as well, because she'd called and left me a message as well.
I thought she's not
I
in
think
my
she's
district,
called
but I thought-
everybody.
I think
She
she
called
called
everybody.
me
Oh,
and,
she called everybody?
Yeah.
yeah, she called me, I called her back, and I don't know
I do
what else we
believe,
can tell her.
yeah, I believe she was, she asked this question in the past and was maybe given not the correct answer, but partially. And the partially part was that the funding wasn't approved for it. And so that was a while back, and I think she's just seen all the work and wanted to kind of know what was going
She
on.
was very cordial when I talked to her. She just was
Yeah.
interested to find
Yeah.
out if there was a timeline on it somewhere.
Feel free to direct her to our wonderful project tracker. All right, anything else from council?
This Saturday, we do have our prescription drug take-back event again for the spring, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at Alps Pharmacy in Alps Plaza on Ridgecrest. And so Officer Forgy and myself will be there. And if you have any unused or expired prescription, even non-prescription, anything except for needles and inhalers, we'll take pretty much anything.
Okay.
No.
No. And then one thing I just remembered, tomorrow evening is first responder night at Nixa baseball game over at the baseball field on North Street. I'm either throwing out the first pitch or saying play ball or something like that. I typically always throw a strike, just so you guys are aware.
Now you're grounded.
Threw a curve last year. But so we get out and support the baseball team and our first responders. Please do so. Nothing else from council? Anything from staff?
Mayor, if you saw our post on our social media page, we celebrated 40 years of DARE this year. And so we did a quick calculation on that, and we asked Officer Forgy, how many students do you think you taught DARE to over the course of the time of being involved in this program? And that number was 20,000 students.
Wow.
That's a lot of kids, man. That's one individual. That's not all DARE officers combined. That's his total himself. So that's a pretty astonishing number, 20,000 kids.
And I would put money on it. He knows every single name of every one of those kids. We, Forgy and I do this thing every December, and I get hired by Santa Claus as one of his helpers to go into a neighborhood, and they do a fundraiser for least of these. And then they have a Christmas light decorating contest, and I dress up as Santa, and Forgy is himself. And we drive around in the DARE car, and we hand out candy canes and judge the Christmas lights. And I am not kidding when I say these kids will come out of the house, they'll see me, and then they'll go, Officer Forgy, and just go right past Santa Claus. It's kind of sad for me, but it's really cool for Brent. He's making a huge difference. And get in touch with him. Go to one of the DARE graduations. It's pretty fun, pretty cool. So, thank you, Chief.
Council, I'd also like to give you a quick update on the pool. We continue to move forward. We had step one was a big concrete pour this morning of the portion within the pool. They did half of that. Scheduled for Wednesday is our phase two of that pour, which will complete all of the pour that they have to do in the pool basin. The reason that is highly important, it needs to cure. It needs a lot of cure time before we can submerge it in the pool. And so they're right on track with that. Everything's looking great. They are also busy removing more pool deck to replace pipe, cleaning out the filter medias to replace the medias within the filters, decommissioning the old floor inlets within the pool. So there's a lot of other work going on. But if you haven't been by or you heard this morning, they started at 5:30 this morning. By the time I got there at a couple minutes after 8, they were done pouring concrete already. Wow. They were finishing the last touches of finishing it. So they were moving real quick this morning. But we appreciate their work, and it's right on track. And so we're looking good for that end of May for a pool opening then sometime that first week in June.
We've had a lot of good PR in the media on it recently, which has been really wonderful for me to see, instead of it all being, look what's doing, it's like, look what's going on, this is great. So
we're trying to keep the information out there that we are opening the pools back out. We posted just a couple of weeks ago, all of our swim lessons and all of the normal swim activities will take place. We've moved those just a little bit. We pushed our start of our swim lesson season and swim team season back just a smidge, just to make sure we were open in time. But everything's going to line out. We'll get the same number of sessions and have a good time.
looks good.
You said a couple minutes after 8, so you were late for work today?
Yeah.
No, we started 8:30 and worked till 5.
See, it was early.
Thanks, Matt. All right. Anything else? All right. Nothing else? Mr. Peterson?
I move that City Council go into closed session under Section 610-021-1 and 2 of RSMO. I also move that this closed session, records related thereto, and any votes taken by the council during this session shall be closed under Section 610-021 RSMO, and that the City Council shall stand adjourned after the closed session.
Second.
First by Mr. Peterson, second by Mr. Lucas. Roll call, please.
Zernvest. Michelle Lucas.
Yes.
Darlene Graham,
Yes.
Kelly Morris,
Yes.
Aaron Peterson,
Yes.
Matt Ogden.
Yes.
Thank you.